Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. Stopping my breakfast. Haven't done this in about a month or so, maybe even more. Talk about the Lakers because uh, we really saw an impressive win last night from our third unit, and that's how I'm viewing the game. The first half wasn't really great. I think they were trying to experiment with a specific play call style template thing that we discussed yesterday, where curls and weaves, handoffs, and stuff like that. We were kind of fumbling those a little bit, turned this into some turnovers. But I do think it's going to be a fantastic thing when we get it down. Um, so that's what I saw. And then on the defensive end, we had some of the same issues we've been having with power forwards, just continuing to have big games against us in the preseason. In the second half, we saw our guys. We experimented with some lineups that gave the Bucks a further upper hand, to be honest with you, and then we brought in a third unit that just completely erased that deficit, led by Quincy Olivari, who was just spectacular in 9 minutes of play. After listening to everybody talk about the game, well, not everybody, I still have some more people I want to hear from, but listening to all the talking heads that I did in regards to this game, I think we're all on the same page about Quincy Olivari deserving more playing time in this preseason, and we need to start planning what it looks like when you keep him. He's on an Exhibit 10 contract right now. I wasn't really sure exactly what it was last night, but I've come to understand that, and that has him the way that Trevor Lane described it with Laker Nation. We would be giving him a bit more money than you would give a G League guy. It's like a high played G League contract, and you'd funnel him back and forth between the G League and the big team, but mostly G League minutes. And at any point, he could be picked up by another squad. So that's the problem. We have got to get him off of that, because if anybody saw what we saw last night, he ain't gonna be a Laker for much longer. It just is what it is. You keep him on that Exhibit 10 thinking he's gonna stay in the G League, he won't. Memphis is gonna pick him up. OKC is gonna pick him up. Milwaukee's gonna pick him up. I'm telling y'all, you don't keep this player unless you hurry up and get him the hell off of that. I'm just being honest. Because if I'm Golden State, or if I'm one of these teams, Brooklyn, somebody like that, I'm taking him from you right now. I'm trying my best to get him off of you. You ain't gonna have him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, literally. So here's my solution, honestly. If there's a trade out there that we can do to create a roster spot, you need to create that roster spot. Waiving one of our 3 two-way guys, I'm not solely comfortable with doing that. Thought about it, slept on the thought. I want to keep Quincy Olivari, but I don't think our team can afford to get rid of a center. Colin Castleton and Traore, based on our needs with the big man position, I just don't think that's a good idea. It's the same reason why I was comfortable with moving on from Henson. Despite most of Laker Nation kind of being on the other side of that, I just wasn't a big believer in Henson. I think he's a fantastic three-point shooter. I didn't think he brought too much else to the table. Quincy Olivari is who everyone thinks Henson is. That's really what the reality is. He's a guy who can do a lot of things, both sides of the floor: defense, offense, ball handling, shooting, clutch play. He picks up people full court, and then comes down and runs the offense. Had a lob to Castleton, like he does. He's got a combo game in a big guard frame, and that's not something you take lightly. In just a short sample size, he showed he did a lot. And in the summer league, that was kind of how it went too. He struggled in some of the minutes that we gave him in the summer league early on, but in the final game, he shined. And I think it was the second to last game, he really shined. So like when you give him small sample sizes and tell him to go, he goes. And then listening to what JJ Redick's quotes were, essentially JJ was saying, he has been the blueprint for what we want everyone in the preseason to do. The energy that he provided, the way that he was attentive to doing what JJ asked, he's aced it. So for me, it's like, all right, man, look, we got to be honest about something here, and we, this is obvious. Not everybody has to perform very well to make the team. Quincy Olivari is probably going to get more opportunities in the preseason. If he has some duds, he's probably going to be cut comfortably from here. Even after this game, if he comes out and scores 3 points and we give him like 20 minutes and he doesn't look like he did yesterday, it goes back to him having to work so damn hard to be impressive again. Not everybody has that problem on this roster, and they should. That's what it really comes down to, man, and they should. So, for me, it becomes a problem looking at how our team is constructed based on knowing that we have maybe like 2 or 3 players, not just Bronny James, but 2 or 3 players that are on our team that don't have to play as well as Quincy Olivari just did in order to earn their minutes. That's a flaw in our system. It's a flaw in the system, but it's definitely a flaw in the Lakers organizational system. If Quincy Olivari is out playing guys, then Quincy Olivari should be the guy that we value over the guys he's out playing. I don't know that it's simplified that easily. I don't think it is. You have to consider a lot of different factors, including who's on the floor going up against Quincy when he's going off. He did not do this against Giannis and Bobby Portis. So that there's context to all of this that needs to be studied further, and that's why I want us to give him more minutes in the preseason. Maybe even upping the ante and having him play against some big dogs. We got Golden State coming up, got Phoenix coming up. Maybe he gets some minutes while KD's on the floor. Maybe he gets some minutes while Draymond's on the floor. And if he continues to ball out, then we know he's for real. But for me, it's like, it's difficult, and this is where the collective bargaining agreement kind of hurts you. It's difficult to create the roster spot that we need in this situation to move a guy like Cam Reddish, who's not really playing that great, or to move maybe somebody else, whoever it may be, that we can see a future without him, in order to create a roster spot for this guy who's just broke out in the short minutes. They make it hard on us to just simply make that trade. And because that trade is hard to make, it's inflated in the price it's going to take to get it done between the negotiating parties. We can't just simply say, hey, can I trade Cam Reddish for the second round pick? They're going to be like, nah, you're going to have to give me a second round pick because you want to get rid of this guy, and we know how hard it is to make trades. So it's like, that's when the collective bargaining agreement gets in the way of Quincy Olivari in our situation getting an outright opportunity at a two-way contract or a regular season contract. Which is why we really needed the Lakers to be a bit more conservative in how they handling roster spots, particularly Bronny James's contract, and particularly last year with the player options that we offered guys like Cam Reddish and D'Angelo Russell, although we obviously keep D'Angelo in this situation. Cam Reddish is the guy that I think everybody would agree probably should be the one going first. Bronny's the one that we understand that, if we were doing things without politics involved, he would probably be the guy that we drop. We get that. But because he's who he is, that privilege is worked into the leverage of LeBron James. And so we will move forward with the kid having a roster spot, a full guaranteed roster spot. And then we'll just develop him and just live with whatever comes with that. This is what it is. But a guy like Quincy Olivari doesn't have that type of rope in any way, shape, or form. That's a flaw. That's a flaw. If his name was Quincy James, he'd be on the side of a building or something like that. Where it becomes a situation where you got to ask yourself, in the midst of trying to keep up with what we are obligated to do, are we not hurting ourselves anyway in the long run? Doesn't it hurt either way? I guess is what I'm asking. So, I'm a believer in Bronny long term. I don't feel that much different about him than I do about Jalen Hood-Schifino or Max Lewis or Max Christie. I just think those guys in their own respective levels need to continue to develop. Max Christie obviously further along, but I just think he's not as ready as we want him to be. And I think we're going to be happy with what he does, but at the end of the day, I still have him lumped in with the guys that are going to need to develop, that we're going to have to keep working on. Bronny James is probably the one who needs the most work, man. It is what it is. And so that we allowed this to go this way makes it so that now we're in a space with a guy like Quincy Olivari where you probably you're going to probably lose him. Like, if other GMs are paying attention to what I'm paying attention to, he ain't going to be with the Lakers. Hell no, I'm going to get him right now. And there are some very good GMs out there, and we made a lot of noise. Our talking heads have made a lot of noise about Quincy. You know what I mean? He's in a Laker uniform. He did this against Giannis. A lot of people were watching because Bron and AD were on the floor. And Giannis and Dame played in this game. So, you probably had most of the league paying attention to this game. So, while this is great for Quincy Olivare, we're a team lacking in valuable assets in comparison to a lot of teams. This is a big loss if this guy gets picked up by another team. It's bad enough we let other players go down that path. Henson, I'm not big on Henson, but a lot of people are. He's going to be with Golden State. Scottie Pippen Jr., he's going to be with Memphis. Like, these guys are going to be guys that are probably going to have some value. Scottie already has some value. And we didn't capture it. Our scouts have been doing a fantastic job of getting us really good talent. They found Austin, they found AC, they found, they've been doing a fantastic job. Traore, I like all the stuff that these scouts have been doing in that range of undrafted players. Castleton, if I didn't mention them already. We're doing a great job. Maybe because of that dynamic, we're the wrong team to have these circumstances where we can't create roster spots or have guys that we know damn well aren't better than some of these guys that the scouts are bringing in sitting on our roster for political reasons or just poor negotiation processes in their contracts. That's a flaw, fam. That doesn't help you. Not at all. LeBron James put us in a weak position to not really be able to maneuver even further on top of the problems that the collective bargaining agreement provides because he forced us to give his son a full guaranteed contract. That is not good for our roster, bro. We need that to go somewhere else because of the presence of the Cam Reddish opt-in, bro. We are the wrong team for that. I'm just being honest. We're the wrong team to be strangleholding ourselves in one situation when we're already strangleholding another. So now you're forced to get rid of players that you probably would rather not, just so guys that you'd rather get rid of can stay. I don't like the dynamic. And while I appreciate LeBron James and like Bronny James, I want the Lakers after this era to never do this again. Don't do this again. Don't do this again, bro. And I get it. A guy like Giannis wants his brother on the team. You know what I mean? Maybe a guy like Wemby probably wants his homie on the team or something. You know what I mean? You're going to want to do stuff like this. But as you can clearly see, it's bad. it's bad, man. Now, if I were running the Lakers, Bronny James would definitely be with the organization. I wouldn't waive him. He would be in the G League. And I would call him up when he's ready. And I'd have him down there next to his dad the same way he is right now. But he would be on an Exhibit 10. Or he would be on a two-way. You know what I'm saying? And I would use the leverage that I have with LeBron James attached to me and all that leverage Clutch has to assure that other teams honor not taking them from us. Make life hard on them if they try to take Bronny James off of it. And most of these GMs, what we're finding out is they respect LeBron James so much that they're not doing. It's just like Golden State said. We wanted to draft Bronny, but we didn't because we have respect for LeBron James. I think we clearly saw the entire league felt the same way. Just nobody took him but us. And to give him a guaranteed contract, I know it covers things from the LeBron side of the fence. On his side of the table, he secures his son 4 years in the NBA, no matter if he plays well or not. That's the leverage that you give yourself. That's how you take care of your own family member. But for the Lakers, that's terrible leverage foregoing based on all of that I've already described. That's not a good move for you. You need a lot more flexibility with your roster than to be giving away roster spots to guys who have to develop. Regardless of who they are, man. And so, I'm going to tell you, I don't believe Bronny can help us this year. I'm open to being wrong. You know what I mean? I think the world of the young man's character. I think the world of his athleticism. But I just think he has a long way to go before he's really ready to be a scorer in this league, or someone who can actually get a bucket. His jump shot is not there yet. His inside game, floater game as a smaller 6'1", 6'2" player is not there yet. So he's not ready to ball yet. He's not ready to ball, man. And that, to me, is something that I wish LeBron James would have given us a little more grace in regards to as a franchise. We should have had more graces to say, we know your kid's not quite ready to be a part of the 12-man roster. We can't put him in rotation without hurting our roster because he's not ready. Just like we couldn't put Max Lewis in last year because he wasn't ready. Just like we couldn't put Max Christie in his first year because he wasn't ready. I mean, we didn't even put Kobe Bryant on the floor his first year because he wasn't necessarily ready. Although I have my argument about that. But that's not the point. The point is anybody and everybody needs to start when they're ready, or be on the roster when they're ready. And that they're not ready, having a full guaranteed roster spot really does stranglehold whatever franchise they're on. And here we are just sitting here eating crow. We don't get a chance to really secure a potential breakout player because of this decision, man. I obviously would rather have LeBron James Sr. than Quincy Olivari, but I don't think I should have to live without either one of them, to be honest with you. So, yeah, as a Laker fan, I wake up this morning concerned that we're going to lose Quincy Olivari. That's what I'm here to say. It's not even about whether or not I think he should be part of this team. It's about understanding that everybody else in the league knows we're in this situation. And there goes a player that just played well on our roster in the summer league. In the preseason. It shouldn't be hard to take him from the Lakers based on all these different strangleholds to our roster. Shouldn't be hard to take him. He's on Exhibit 10. You understand what I'm saying? So I just don't. I don't agree with this whole get down. The way we handled the Bronny James thing was bad. The way we handled giving a guy like Cam Reddish a player option. I don't know what type of leverage Cam Reddish has or his representation has, but there ain't no way in hell he should have been given a player option last year. There's no way in hell that should have happened. Ever. And that we can't open up roster spots without getting rid of other players that maybe we want to hold on to, like Castleton or Traore, is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. That we can't move on from Cam Reddish without him costing us money in order to do so, or costing us futures in order to do so, or both in some cases, depending on the scenario, is ridiculous. And that's less about the Lakers and more about this collective bargaining agreement. That's absolutely absurd. It should have never been agreed upon. And yeah, man, I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated. This sucks bad. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Lakers are able to create a roster spot for this kid, that he continues to earn it. Obviously, we have more preseason games to play. But I seen enough. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I ain't seen enough. You know what I'm saying? I seen enough. In 9 minutes of play, everything he showed me last night tells me he's an NBA player. He's ready to go. He's ready to help somebody. And he's young. He's a rookie just like everybody else that's a rookie. So the idea that we're supposed to stranglehold him to an Exhibit 10, or that the rest of the league is going to look at him like he belongs in the G League is naive, in a sense that he's fresh out of college just like everybody else that came in that damn draft. So why would they think that he should just stay in the G League just because? No, that's not real, ladies and gentlemen. Austin Reeves was immediately a part of our roster as an undrafted player. How many undrafted players have we seen succeed? This is an undrafted player. He's going to be on the roster this year. This is you can't keep him on the Exhibit 10, LA. I'm just telling y'all right now. Y'all got to get him off of that. He outplayed that last night. Now, however you want to go about it, that's your business. But if you think you got a lot of time to lollygag about that, you don't. You really don't. You don't have time. You got to make a move and you probably got to do it rather soon, or you're going to lose that particular piece. And like I said, it's a small sample size. He did it against lesser talent. The Bucks' third unit was not very good. He smoked them. And if you don't want to overreact to that, I certainly understand. But I don't believe this is an overreaction. I think this dude showed me that he can compete. I think this dude showed me that if he's given the right opportunity, he could probably be a legitimate NBA rookie out there. You know what I mean? He's going to be a real guy. So if you're hoping that everybody's leaning on the conservative side in regards to the entire league, not overreacting to 9 minutes of play, I'm telling you that there's too many people. There's 30 teams. One of them 30 is overreacting and saying, yo, let's go get this guy. Get him away from the Lakers now. And with all the teams that hate us so very much, they want to take him from anything that we have that's good any damn way. Just off the strength of these touched to us. So that's even more against us in regards to keeping players like this. So, yeah, man. Things change quickly, man. That's what it comes down to. Yesterday morning, we had no idea this was going to be dynamic. But now, yeah, we here. Yo, if you don't do something in regards to creating a more guaranteed Laker contract for Quincy Oliveri, I do believe somebody's going to pick him up, maybe even before the next preseason game. If it's possible. I would. I'll tell you that right now. And so I think if there's an opportunity to get rid of Cam Reddish, since he's the one that you can probably trade or something like that, I think that would be a great idea. I think that would be a fantastic idea. And I like Cam Reddish's, the idea of Cam Reddish on our team for defensive purposes. As I've said, I think he can make more sense this year than he did last year. But I have some concerns about Cam Reddish on the offensive end, some real ones. And I don't remember who I was listening to who said this. I think it was Jason Timpf. But he said the problem with Cam Reddish is he could play some defense, some really nice defensive sequences, but then he wants to come down and do a spin move, you know what I mean, and like do something flashy. It's like he can't reel it in. And after hearing him say that and then watching his minutes yesterday, I kind of saw some of that. Some people, for every good thing they do, they just have to do something that's outside of their wheelhouse. And to be honest with you, I do believe that Cam Reddish may have that issue. And in having that issue, it really does eat away at him being what you would hope would be a competent basketball player on the NBA floor. And that's what it is, man. He gonna do great things defensively, but then he gonna come down and try to do too much offensively. And maybe that's because he's dealing with a lot as it pertains to trying to make a team. He's struggling in certain areas, so it's like, oh, I got it. Let's go. But at this stage of where he's at in his career, year 7 or whatever this is, we're too far down the road to prioritize a player who has those type of traits when you have Quincy Oliveri coming out of nowhere, when you have Bronny James attached to a contract and you know damn well he's not going to help you this year. Like, I can't have that player be somebody holding me back from getting the next great player. I got to move on. That's what it really comes down to for a guy like Cam Reddish, bro. I just got to move on, man. I got to. It's in my best interest to continue to look for talent that can net me something out there in the market and who could help my team in on both sides of the floor. I have too many one-way players, and I don't need a guy who's good on the defensive end but not amazing on the defensive end coming down and just not having the tools on the offensive end to make himself a competent basketball player on the floor. And I think with the right coaching or the right situation, maybe Cam Reddish can grow even further from here. He's still a young man in the grand scheme of things. Maybe he hears somebody say something like that and starts to take a little more time on the offensive end and try to make things simple as possible for himself. shine where you can shine and keep it simple in the areas that you're not strong. I think that's a much better formula for a guy like Cam for now. But Quincy Olivari, to me, appears like he has the upside that Cam doesn't have from here. I think it's very safe to say that. And if I got to choose between the two players, this is a very easy Cam Reddish. Thank you very much, bro. I'm going to create the roster spot for this young guy. And if it works out for me, congratulations to me. If it doesn't work out for me, I got rid of a player that just isn't developed properly over time. Didn't really fit in my system based on my circumstances. It's no loss to me. I understand that Cam Reddish has been much more tested against more high-level talent, obviously. So I don't want to disrespect Cam at all. But it comes down to what's more valuable to me in this situation. Who's going to be more valuable? Who's potentially going to net me the better return if I try to shop him in the market later on? Who's going to potentially turn into something out of nothing that could really help me someday? And, who has more facets to their game, it appears, early on. All of that's Quincy. In 9 minutes of play, all of it's Quincy. You can clearly see it. So, yeah, man, that's where it is for me, man. That's it. I don't think anything else is realistic, to be honest with you. Nothing else really makes any sense. I'm not moving on from Christian Coloco, even though I'm a little frustrated he hasn't been, brought up, been cleared, I guess is what I'm saying. But I got him for a reason. And the logic that I had in regards to keeping Castleton was that we were a little thin at the center spot any damn way. So why am I waving centers and bigs? Why am I waving Traore or Castleton, bringing in Coloco when I have a big man problem as it pertains to how many I have? That's never going to really make any sense. You moving on from Castleton, it's not going to make any sense. I understand people who are not overly impressed with Castleton, even though he was a big part of that Olivari run. And I know what I like about Castleton, and I haven't necessarily seen it yet, but I just believe in him a bit more than maybe what he's shown me for whatever reason. I'll say that. Traore is my favorite rookie on this team, outside of Dalton Connect. But I'm not moving Traore. I'm not even considering that. I'll probably move Castleton before I move Traore. Put it like that. So for me, it's like, what can I do? I don't have two-way spots. I don't have two-way spots to give him. So we got to figure out something else, man. You got to figure out something else. But if you create that roster spot, you can shake some things around, and then you will be able to maybe move Traore into a regular rotation spot, get him a real contract, or Castleton a real contract, or Coloco a real contract, and then give the two-way to Quincy, if that's what makes people feel a bit more comfortable. It's too early to tell if that's the right move or not. I don't know. But, you got to get that roster spot. That's what it really comes down to, in my opinion. You got to create that roster spot. It has to open up, bro. We didn't open it up for Henson. I'm fine with that. I didn't believe in Henson like that. We didn't open it up for Gary Trent Jr. Not thrilled with that, but I'm not unhappy with that. It's like I don't think I have the words necessarily to describe the thought, but I can live with it. Put it like that. I can live with it. This situation? Nah, hell no. Potential homegrown Laker. The only team he's ever played for is the Lakers. He's breaking out in a Laker uniform, and then I'm supposed to let him go so I can hold on some people I don't even want to keep that bad? Hell no, I'm not cool with that, bro. Keep Quincy Olivari. Find a way to do it. BDF44. I thank y'all for watching them out.